Hello. Welcome to this week's live weekly warm-up. I'm excited that I get to be here. I was a little nervous. I had some internet work going on, but everything's good and working. Hopefully it's working. Hopefully you can hear me, but it looks like things are working well. So I'm looking forward to doing this. This is going to be a fun one because it's an exercise that I've 12th long tones where we play a low note really nicely, press the register key, go up a 12th. You're probably familiar with those kinds of long tones. They're very popular long tones. In fact, most teachers work with students on this. In fact, even a lot of beginner elementary band method books have similar exercises to this because it's a really great one for getting over the break, especially when you're more of a beginner and not quite coordinated with the fingers yet. So for this exercise, the reason why I'm doing this exercise and the reason why I'm excited about it is because I actually was at a class this last weekend with my sort of first teacher, not my very first teacher, but my one of my main teachers who I studied with is Dr. Jeremy Reynolds from the University of Denver's Lamont School of Music, who I got my undergrad with. And I definitely remember doing this exercise with him, but it was fantastic to get some reminders of sort of how he thinks about it and some small adjustments that it's sort of changed in my brain as I've done it many times. And it was great to get a refresher on that. So what the exercise is just very simple 12th long tones. So what we're going to be doing is playing a low note. We're going to start on low E, pressing the register key to go up a 12th, and then we're just going to play a major arpeggio going down. So that first note will be our tonic note or our root note. We'll play E, press the register key up to B. The B will then be the fifth. Then we'll play the major third G sharp, root E, fifth B, major third G sharp, and then root E again as we make our way down to the bottom where we started. Now, the thing that was a little bit different for me that I haven't thought about in a long time on this is trying to keep the air just going and the same on every single note. I say that all the time to like play steady embouchure, steady air, and I've thought about that a lot, but not quite as perfectly as this. I always think about keeping the air going, keeping the embouchure the same, and then making small micro adjustments to the notes to get them to sound their best. So I say steady, but it's steady as in get the sound sounding its best and keep the sound sounding its best no matter what has to happen in order to make that come across. This is slightly different in that we're going to just be pure steady. Nothing's going to change. I'm going to feel like I'm playing that low note the entire time, get that really solid foundation and just keep the low note going firmly and well supported the entire time, which is just the tiniest bit mindset change. But that's what happens with these long tones and these exercises that I've been doing for years and years and years. Just having the tiniest sort of mindset shift or tiniest little different thing to work on can make a really big difference for sort of how it feels and the effect of the exercise. So let me try it. And then I'll talk a little bit more about why this is a great way to think about this. You could hear, I feel like when I got to the last note, it wasn't quite as big and full and powerful as the first time I played that note. So I think I backed off a little bit. Of course, with this exercise, I just did it on E, but we can take everything up a half step and do it on F. Yeah, I don't like that transition. So that's the exercise. And you notice I'm playing with like kind of a very raucous sound. It's a very big, very, or maybe not the totally most focused sound the whole time, but I think that's okay. We can sort of start big and then sort of narrow it in. Could even do the same exercise at piano dynamics, keeping the fullness of the low note. Now, the point of this exercise, the reason why this exercise is so good to work on is because the clarinet sound on its own has this sort of Christmas tree effect to the natural sound quality. If you just sort of play the instrument and just play how it wants to play, the low notes get very wide and beefy, like we heard. And then as you go up to the higher notes, they get thinner and thinner, and that sort of creates this Christmas tree shape. Now, the goal is to not sound like a Christmas tree when we're playing. We want every note to sound the same. So we might need to bring those low notes in a little bit and open up those high notes a little bit. And that's the beauty of this exercise, is that you start on that low note and you can go for like the big beefy low note, but the goal is to keep that like strength and support and sort of width in the low note and have that go up to the high note so that you're keeping everything the same. And then as you make your transition down, you're keeping everything the same. The other great thing that this exercise trains is just continuous, no messing around air support, because you have to have that, or having that makes the transitions between all of the notes work better, and that's the whole point of the exercise. But the trick is that there's that transition from over the break down to the next note. So in the E major, you have the B down to the G sharp. That can be a really scary transition that a lot of times players will back away from and do a little where you'll support the B well because it requires good support, and then back off and be really scared and timid on the G sharp because it's really easy to squeak. As you heard, I had a little squeak there. If the finger coordination isn't perfect, if anything is too tight or too high with the voicing and the embouchure, then it's easy to get a little squeak there. So it's great practice to just keep it going, keep the support, and really force yourself to just get rid of all of the other neuroses and worries that your brain has about missing these notes or squeaking or not aiming perfectly, and just blow that low note really good, really warmly and fully, and keep it the same all the way through. And of course, you can do this exercise even up an octave higher than I did, where you get into the really high notes and work on keeping those really full. And then once you have a great grasp of just keeping everything steady, then you can add on the next layer of really being precise with everything and sort of fine-tuning everything. Once the steady support is there and you're sort of warmed up with that, then you can really work on perfect, most beautiful sound for every single note, with again that idea of not ta, but even beautiful sound, which is always the end goal, and the perfect thing to be thinking about in long tones, because you have plenty of time to think about all that stuff. The fingerings are easy. The sound can be really top of mind. So I hope that you enjoyed this week's live weekly warm-up. Next week is Labor Day. I again have some family things going on for Labor Day, so I may or may not do a live weekly warm-up. I'm sure you all are busy too and might like some time off, but also maybe it's your time off and you'd like to focus on the clarinet. So we'll just say next week is TBD. I may or may not see you next week on the live weekly warm-up, but certainly the week after that, there will be one. So if you miss it next week, there'll be another one the following week. And there will be regular scheduled videos Saturday morning on the YouTube channel as well. So enjoy those. I hope these clarinet tips are helping you out. Have fun with these 12th arpeggio long tones this week, and I'll see you next time on the live weekly warm-up.